Happy lunch hour, guys. Okay, so you think there's a whole lot going on in the news on Friday? Not really. We could talk about HB 1808 supposedly being in committee and coming up for a committee vote today, but there's nothing coming out of that yet. We could talk about Wikipedia coming up and changing the definition of recession real quick today, but okay, so be it. So I want to talk about something that's more important, I guess, if you will, and that is the continuing saga of feeding yourself. So here it is, it's the end of July, and it's time to start thinking about spring. Yes, I know. All right, at least for me. Now, by this point for me, I've harvested my tomatoes, I've harvested my corn, I've harvested my bush beans, my cucumbers are about done. Tomatoes, peppers, what else is still going fine? The squash is still going well. That's it. So, certainly my spring crops are long since done, and my summer crops are slowly coming to an end, and it's about time to plant fall. Now, depending on what you grow in the fall, it's probably not going to take up as much garden space as your summer crops do. Okay, for me, I'm going to be planting cabbage and beets to go through. That'll be my fall planting. Okay, I don't grow turnips or parsnips or anything like that. It's just not my deal. I'm working on something here to show you another idea on carrots, but that's coming up probably sometime next week. So I'm going to have a lot of extra garden space. And at this point, if you see behind me here, this is where my white potatoes were. And second batch of potatoes didn't come up at all. So, okay, it's time to put the bed to bed. So, we had some weeds grow and things like that, which isn't a bad thing because that's organic material. So the first thing I wanted to do was go out and knock all those down. You ever seen one of these? Okay. It's a scuffle hoe, or some people call it a stirrup hoe. And works really well. Basically, you're just running it through the dirt and you're shaving off all those weeds. Just leave them right there. You can rake them up if you want, throw them in a compost pile, but for how I'm doing this, no need to. I'll leave them there. They'll rot and turn into more organic material in the soil behind me. Because what you need to be doing at this point for the beds that you are not going to be planting in for the winter is it's time to literally start turning them into a compost pile. Now, I have my compost pile, it's full of compost and now corn stalks and bean plants, and it'll continue to rot down for the rest of summer, and come late fall, I'll put it in. But this time of year now is where, with the gardens being quote unquote fallow, a lot of places or a lot of people will start planting cover crops, whether it's their clover or their buckwheat or whatever they want to do. Okay, but that costs money. And y'all know me. I mean, I'm trying to help everybody do this as best I can, free or as super cheap as you can. Now, what do I want to do? I've knocked down all the weeds. Well, it's still July, okay, and the grass is going to continue to grow for at least here the next 3 months, and the leaves have to fall. So the next thing for me to do is, as I am mowing the lawn, or in my case, weeds, because it ain't grass, welcome to living in the country, I will be collecting all those grass clippings and throwing them into different parts of the garden and piling them up there. Spread them out, okay? I'm not going to make mountains. I'm going to spread them out over the top so it's even and let them start decomposing there. And I know what everybody's going to say is, oh, then all it's going to do, the grass is going to mat up and everything. Yes, it's true. If you just put grass clippings down thick, they'll mat up. Well, fortunately for me, as I've told you guys many times, and I really can't grab a handful of it here, but there's a piece at least. There's a lot of horse manure and horse bedding in my garden, which is what I use. So there's still a lot of partially decomposed wood chips. So there's plenty of carbon in there to assist with the decomposition of the nitrogen, i.e. the grass clippings, the green material. Good. So let's say you didn't do that. What can you do? All right, same thing. Take newspaper, all right, any of those crappy things that you get in the mailbox all the time, your grocery store flyer or whatever it would be, shred those up and throw it in and mix it in with your grass clippings. There's a carbon source, okay? I'm guessing a lot of people don't have ready-made access to a lot of sawdust, but that would be great. Cardboard, but cardboard is good, but you have to tear it up in very small pieces, which can take a while. Newspaper, white paper is probably your best. I'll give you this. If you don't, most people don't get a newspaper subscription. Go to the store, and all those little racks that are out in front of the grocery store with the thrifty nickel or whatever it is, grab 30 of them. Don't care, they're free, right? Grab them, shred them up, run them through a paper shredder, throw them in your garden. Okay? Free. Again, carbon source goes great with the grass clippings. You're going to let that stuff compost down over the winter. Come springtime, you're going to till all that in, turn it into it, because by now it's going to be black and better soil, if you will. For me, I'm going to be doing that for the next few months, and come Thanksgiving-ish, I will put compost over the whole thing. But this serves a couple of purposes. It helps build up quality soil, compost. It puts a lot of organic material into your garden, which your plants will need next year. And oh, by the way, it will also serve as a weed barrier. So come next spring, you won't have all the weeds in your garden. All you'll need to do is go in and turn all that stuff in again, and you will have excellent soil to build in or to grow in. That's kind of the point, guys. Soil is not something that, unless you want to, you can go buy truckloads of it, and spend thousands of dollars on soil. But guess what? What you're spending thousands of dollars on, they did exactly what I'm telling you to do here, and just building their own compost. Now, why do I want to do it this way? Real simple. Besides liking to save money and do things free, the other thing I like to do is save effort. What's the point of taking all my grass clippings and putting it in a compost pile somewhere else so it can all degrade and compost itself, okay, and then have to move it? Why not just compost in place? It's a real simple concept that a lot of people don't think of, and it's a resource that pretty much everybody has. Grass clippings, okay? If you've got a yard to grow a garden in, I'm assuming you have some grass to mow, okay? If you've turned your entire yard into garden, congratulations, okay? But y'all know at that point, it took a lot to build all the soil underneath. If you're doing container gardening and stuff like that, sure, this isn't going to work. But for those backyard gardeners, this is probably your easiest, best solution to build quality soil where you're going to need to spend less and less and less money on fertilizer, because you're going to have a very nutrient-dense soil to plant on. And then, of course, you can go use all the free fertilizer that I told you about. Because, yes, you should still be saving your coffee grounds and your chicken bones and your eggshells and everything like that, because those are good fertilizers. I wanted to share that with everybody because it's this time of year to do it. I know there's a lot of people going, well, it's not a news, well, no, it's not a news update. Yes, we do a lot on current events, but this is still a prepping channel. And I'm going to tell you this again. Everything you grow is one less thing you got to spend $1 on. Saw the other day a pint of tomatoes in a hardware store, local hardware store, that was probably growing themselves, and store employee put them out there, was selling them for $4 a pint. So literally it was 2, maybe 3 medium tomatoes for $4. So think about that. Every 3 tomatoes that you grow in your yard is a gallon of gas. Just giving you that as a thought. Enjoy Friday. If something comes up, you know I'll be here. Pinball out.